Hello, Christ Church Choir. One of the many sad aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic is having to look over here in the choir loft every Sunday and see it empty. I love choral music, and I love our choir. To me, music in worship conveys the gospel message in ways oftentimes more powerfully and more effectively than the spoken word. You know, even the Apostle Paul, when he wanted to make a grand statement about Christ and his divinity and his humanity, he didn't have the spoken word. He had to resort to a hymn. Do you know he quotes a hymn in Philippians in the 2nd chapter, verse 6. The hymn he quotes is this: "Who, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in human likeness, and being found in human form, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even on a cross." There are aspects of God's grace that are so profound, we can't even share them when we speak, but they can be understood in our music, and we can hear them when we sing. That's why I am incredibly committed to having strong music ministry continue here at Christ Church. We're in a season of change and transition, and I know that creates a lot of questions and some uncertainty, so I want to kind of tell you where we are with things and the direction I think that we need to go. You know, when this whole pandemic started, we decided to begin to move into a new style of worship at 11 o'clock, which is a blended service. That created a lot of questions for people. Will there be a place for traditional music in that, and where will that place be? And let me assure you, traditional music will be strongly represented in the 11 o'clock service. And we will have a choir in the 11 o'clock service just as we do at 8:30, because choral music is essential to who we are as a church and as God's people. I'm going to bring in some of the best minds available in this conference to help us with our next steps. We're looking at bringing in someone to guide us and consult us in how we truly build a blended service that speaks God's love language, whether someone is traditional or contemporary in their style. The next thing we're going to do is sit down and really study and look at the whole structure of our worship and music ministries, and be sure that we are set up in such a way that everybody who serves in the choir has all of the resources and support that our choir members need. And finally, after we've studied our worship and studied the structure of music and worship arts in this church, we're going to staff and recruit and fund music ministry so that Christ Church can continue to set a high bar for the way that we sing in worship. My plan is to pull together all of the resources necessary so that Christ Church will have world-class leadership in the direction of our worship music, that we'll have strong section leads supporting the choir, that we'll have professional musicians supporting our contemporary music. I can think of no better place to put our resources than in worship, because worship is not just what we do, it's who we are. Over the next days and weeks, I'm going to be in regular communication with the choir, letting all of you know where we are and what's happening. And when the time comes, we will have members of the choir helping to guide the process and make recommendations along the way. So many of you have reached out to me with your thoughts and your concerns, and I'm so grateful for your sincerity and your honesty and about what your hopes are for the future. I'm especially grateful to all of you that have offered to help me along the way, because this is a journey we have to take together. Please continue to feel free to reach out to me. I care about you. I care about our worship. And I want to give to you all everything that you need so that you can have the fullness of joy that you desire as you lead in our music ministries.